How's everyone doing this evening? My name is Pat Click, and my company is Ventures Click Ventures. And today we're going to talk about writing a business plan. It's really, really important to write your business plan because it's your roadmap to success. So I'm going to start my presentation. I have a lot of slides to cover, a lot of things to talk about, but you're not going to be able to grasp everything in this short presentation. So please register for some consultations afterward so we can go further in detail. Okay, next slide, please. So, my name is Patricia Ventures Click, and I'm the president over VCV. I've been in business about 8 years, and I like working with the community and small business owners. Next slide, please. So, we're going to talk about the value of a business plan, an outline for an executive summary, SWOT analysis, and we're going to talk about some resource links to do some research. Next, please. So the learning objectives here today. At the completion of this course, participants will understand how to prepare a business plan, and we're going to talk about writing an executive summary, researching your industry, and SWOT analysis. Excuse me. Okay, so in case you don't know, I didn't know when I started my business. I started a business without a plan. And I fumbled. I made a lot of mistakes. I spent a lot of money. I didn't realize it was the foundation of my business. And when I stop and I think about it, I said, so what were you thinking, Pat? I really wasn't. All I was excited about my business. And I just went on out there and started my business. But I need a plan. Just like a football game or a basketball game, they have a plan. They have a strategy that they're going to do to perform. So your business plan is the foundation for your business. It's a roadmap to how you structure, run, and grow your new business. You will use this as the business case to help you establish your working relationships and investment partners. It's a documented path for lenders, investors, and mainly you to know your plan for success and how you plan to get there. Next, please. Now, I will be reading a little bit, and I know everyone's able to read, but I just like to say certain things and put emphasis certain places. So please bear with me. So writing your business plan. In your business plan, you're going to have stuff maybe about technology, and you're going to have narratives, maybe some photography, graphs, or illustrations. And it's okay because you want to kind of grab the reader. But we're going to talk a little bit more about the reader and really how far does he go or she goes when reading your business plan. Next, please. So the value of a business plan. So we're going to talk again about, as you see here on the slide, we talk about the SBA and we talk about SWOT. And we're going to go a little bit further in SWOT, talking about your strengths, your weaknesses, and opportunities and threats. Okay, next, please. So 10 reasons to write a business plan. It helps with critical decisions. So once you write your plan, when you're not under the stress of operating your business, it kind of helps you not be, all worked up about making a decision. You've already written it out pretty much. You already know what you're going to do. It helps you iron out the kinks. You ask yourself those questions about how am I going to operate? Who's going to do what for me? What time I'm going to open? What time I'm going to close? Who's my competition? It helps you ask yourself all those questions, which helps you avoid making big mistakes and really proves the viability of your business. Next slide. Also, it helps you set better objectives and benchmarks. It helps you communicate your objectives and benchmarks. I can't get my ringer, my thing to go off. I'm sorry, you guys. It provides a guide for service providers. So let's say you want to hire someone to do some work for you. So you said, okay, well, here's my business plan. Accountant, or marketing or legal assistance, read my business plan and you know a little bit about my business. So now you know how to price my services. It helps you secure financing and it helps you better understand the broader landscape of the industry that you're in. Next, please. So, Albert Einstein. We cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them. So we had an idea. We said, this is great. So now we have to document everything. We have to write things out so we can better understand our path. Okay, next, please. And I want to thank you, Jada, for doing this for me and advancing the slides. I really do.
Anytime.
So also, you have to make some critical decisions because running a business is not a hobby. It requires critical thinking, ability to think rationally and clearly and understand everything that you're doing in your business. So it's important that you write out your plan. It's important that you give sound thought to what you're doing. And there's a link here at the bottom that helps you with critical thinking. And jot down that link and use that link to do some further research about critical decisions as you write your business plan. Next, Jada. Strategic thinking. So you're going to step back and you says, okay, I'm starting a business. I got to have an idea. I'm excited about it, but now I have to talk to the right people. Yeah. Well, right now we're a key partner. So right here, as you work your business, you want to form key partnerships. So right now we are a key partner for you to answer any questions to help you navigate the path. Use us, use our services. Value proposition, features you're going to bring to the table. So you say, okay, I have an idea. I want to start a business, but what is the value of that business? You have to be able to articulate that in your documentation and also list the benefits of your product or your service offering. And also customer relationships is very important. I don't care if you have the idea for the business. I don't care if you have all the money for the business, but if you don't know how to manage relationships, you're going to struggle through the process. So it's very important. Next slide, please. So this is really the first step I would take in starting a business, as I'm going to start documenting. It's a business model canvas, and you can get a copy of this on the SBA website. So the business model canvas is kind of like a brainstorming document. You kind of jot down different things here, which later on you're going to take from this document and help do your plan. What's the problem I'm trying to solve? What's the solution? What are some of the key activities? What's my value proposition? What's some fair advantages? What are the channels I'm going to use it? Where's my customers? How am I going to find my customers? What's the cost structure and the revenue streams? All these things, you don't think about all those things, but all these things play a part in doing your business plan. Next, please. So the SBA, and again, this is a link here. The SBA has so much information on their website about businesses. I really suggest that you go there and you look. They have a business model canvas, which you just saw a moment ago. They have a lean business plan, and then they have a full business plan. Now, the lean business plan is just a one-sheeter. So you might want to just tell somebody about your business and just give them that one-sheeter. A detailed business plan will be multiple pages. And if you want to get a loan or you want someone to invest in your company, then you want to give them a full business plan so they can see everything that you're planning on doing with your business. And then you have the lean, you have the full, and you have a business model canvas. All on the SBA website. Excellent resources for you as you're writing your plan. And it's hard to read what's up there now, but there's an outline there, and it has a lot of details about how to do a plan. Okay, next, please. The key components of a business plan. So I'm going to tell you what I heard. I don't know if this is true, but what I heard is when you turn in your plan for a loan to a lender, the first thing he looks at or she looks at is the executive summary, because the executive summary summarizes everything that's listed below there. It summarizes your description of the business. It summarizes your vision, your mission, your goals, objectives. It gives background information. It talks about the organization. What's your market research? Who's your competitors? And also your financial plan. All this is in the executive summary. So my understanding is they read the executive summary, then they look at your financials. Do they have the money? Do they understand where the resources, the financial resources are going to come from to help them execute this business? After they read the executive summary, after they look at your financial plan, then they might find interest in it. And then they might reach out to you and say, okay, let's go over the other things that you have in more detail. Everything between executive summary and financial plan. So very important. These are the key components. And I don't care what template you use. You can go on the internet and you can look at hundreds of templates. They're all going to have an executive summary. They're all going to have a financial plan, but they might say things different. Like instead of description of business, they might say business model concept, etc. They might use different terms. So it's important that you realize all these things are important that you document in your plan. So make sure that you understand your full business. And again, that's what we're doing here today. Understand how to research and understanding how to make a plan. Okay, next, please. Outline for an executive summary. Next, please. We're going to talk about that. An executive summary. Your executive summary should include your mission statement, your product or service, and basic information about your company's leadership team, employees, and location. You should also include financial information on to help manage your business. So in that slide we saw a few moments ago, it had all this in here. It had it broken down bullet by bullet. But when you summarize it, you want someone to look at it, read a page. Executive summary shouldn't be any longer than 2 pages. Usually a page and a half is sufficient. You want to capture that audience at that time. You want them to say, okay, I want to work with this company. I like what I see about this company. And now I want to engage with that company. Next, please. So, what is your mission and your vision? So, a mission statement is really what you're planning on doing for your client. A vision statement is really what you plan on dreams for your actual company. So, a mission statement is a short summary of an organization's core purpose, focus, and aims. This usually includes a brief description of what the company does and its key objectives. A vision statement describes where you want to be. A good vision statement should be short, simple, specific to your business needs, and leave nothing open for interpretation. Both of these, a mission statement shouldn't be any longer than 2 sentences. A vision statement, it really could be 1 sentence, no longer than 2, no more than 2 sentences as well. Okay, next, please.
Can you give an example of a good mission and a good vision statement?
Okay, let me think of one. So Nike. So Nike has a tagline, just do it. Their mission is to spread athletic attire or athletic gear around the world. The vision is to make sure that everyone gets a benefit of their product or service. I don't have one right here, but that's pretty much my mission for my clients from Nike is to make sure that they have the sneakers or the outfits or whatever in their sports environment. The vision is to also to make sure, but just a few different words, make sure that they flourish and they can be representative of the sport. So I don't have it in front of me. I wish I had it in front of me to read to you, but go on the internet and just kind of look around. I should have brought a sample here today. And if I get a moment, I'll look up one. And maybe we can do that in just a moment. Okay. Description of a business. You use your company description to provide detailed information about your company. You go into detail about the problems your business is going to solve. Be specific and list out the consumers, organization, or businesses you plan to serve. You explain the competitive advantage. Who's my competition and what's my advantage over them? And do you have any experts on your team? Who are they? What skill sets do they bring? And have you found the perfect location for your business? Do you have a store? Are you going to operate out of a house? Do you have a mobile van? How are you going to operate and where you're going to operate from? It shouldn't be, even though some people have to start one place and evolve to another, but you should be able to find the perfect location to make sure that you're advertising and providing a place for people to come and get your products or your services. Some people might say, well, I want to have a store. I want to have a brick and mortar. Well, maybe brick and mortar is not the best place. Maybe you need to be mobile. Maybe you need to be in a van. Maybe you need to be going different places. It all depends on what kind of business that you have. But you want to give it thought. A lot of times, well, I know for me, I just immediately say, well, I have to have an office. I have to have a building. Well, maybe not. Maybe I can work from home. And I can save those overhead costs by operating from home because I don't have to engage with people. I don't have to have people come to my office. I can do everything over the internet. So it's a lot of thought to where you're going to operate and make sure that you keep that in mind as you're trying to describe your business. Next, please. Your operational plan. So when you're talking about how do I'm going to operate, where's your product? If you have a product, where's it going to be produced? What type of quality assurance? What type of inventory control you have? Are you internet-based or your physical store home? Back to location, 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 location. And even when you're picking a location, let's say you decide you want to do a brick and mortar. You want to make sure you research that spot that you're talking about putting your store in. Because the last thing you want to do is put your store in a location that someone next door to you or 2 doors down from you is running the same type of business. So you want to research that. You want to make sure you attend city council meetings to know what's going on, because the last thing you want to do is to get a storefront and then kind of find out it's a two-way street today, but tomorrow's going to be a one-way street and you're on the opposite side of the street. You want to know the plans that's happening in the cities that you're running your business in, and you want to know any plans they might have for changing anything within your community. I know that happened to a particular business. I can't think of exactly which one it was, but they wanted this brick and mortar. They rented it. The street turned into a one-way street, and their sales went down because the one-way was the opposite of the way that their business was located. So it impacted them. Had they went to some of the council meetings, they would have known that this construction or this change was going to happen, and they might have made a different decision. So you want to make sure that you understand where your business is going to be located. And then where's your personnel coming from? Are you going to hire someone from an agency? Do you want W-2 employees, someone on payroll? And then, of course, you got to pay benefits. Do you want 1099s where you don't have to pay benefits? You got to talk about any environmental factors. You know, if you have a gas station, you got to dispose of gas at some point. If you have a restaurant, you got to dispose of food. So you want to consider all those things in your operation plan, and you have to write it out because whoever's looking at your plan, they want to know that you understand what's required to run your business. Technology. What technology are you using? Are you using the state-of-the-art technology? Or is your technology you're using antiquated and not supported? They want to know also, too, are you keeping up with the trends? And again, what suppliers are you using? And not only one supplier, do you have a backup supplier? The last thing, again, you want to be counting on one supplier to provide whatever product you need to finish your business, but then that business goes out of business. Then where are you going to go? You should always have at least a contingency plan, the what ifs. If this person goes out of business, do I have another business already lined up that I know can give me my products for what I'm trying to sell in my business? We know during the pandemic, there's a lot of things that was on the shelf before, and then all of a sudden the things were not on the shelves any longer. And we didn't know why. I heard, I don't know, I didn't confirm, a lot was because that particular vendor, that particular company relied on one supplier, and that supplier couldn't come through because that supplier went out of business because of COVID. And they were scrambling to try to find someone else to give them the products that they needed to fulfill the orders that they needed for their clients. Next, please. Any questions on that one? That was any questions on that particular one? Okay. Having the right suppliers. Who are you counting on? You know, who am I entrusting really when it comes down to supply? Who am I trusting to make sure they get me what I need to operate my business? You want to make sure you have a good relationship with them. You want to make sure you have a backup for that.
So yeah, like where does it come from? Like where does it come from is important too, because that was another big issue with COVID because a lot of stuff came from China and it closed the ports. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Right. So the ports were closed and things were on the dock and they couldn't get to us. But maybe you have to pay extra money now because now you have to have someone local where before you were, relying on someone overseas. So all that stuff have to be thought about as you're operating and as you're writing your business plan. Next, please. Supply chain. What's the price you're paying for whatever product you need? What if when they have to ship it to you? Where are they located? How much is it going to cost to transport it to you? How much lead time do they need? Is the product quality? What's the quality of that product? The reliability, the reputation of that company, and again, their contingency plan. Because someone you're relying on, you want to know, okay, in the event of a disaster and something happens, how can you guarantee the best you possibly can that I'm going to get the products I need for my business? Do you have a contingency plan, supplier I'm counting on to make sure you can fulfill your orders? Very, very important. Next, please. Competition. You want to know who you're competing against. And competition is healthy, it's good, but you want to know what they're doing. Who's your direct competition? Who's your indirect competition? You need to research at least 3 competitors, comparable in length of time in business and comparable in the size of the business. Sometimes if you're brand new, it's hard to find that particular one because they haven't posted anything yet. But do the best you can to kind of find out who you're out there competing against, because that's how you're going to get better. So if I was going to have a hamburger stand, I want to know, is there any other hamburger stands around me? And I would decide there's not another hamburger stand around me. but I want to know what the prices are. What is everyone charging for their hamburgers? So if it's a hamburger to hamburger stand, that's my direct competition. My indirect competition could be IHOP sells hamburgers. So that's an indirect competition, but they're still a competitor. So you want to consider all that, again, back to location and looking at your competitors. Research, or who you're competing against, and plus you learn from them. You go into their place of business if you can. You look at their menu if you're doing food. You see what their prices are. You look at their customer service. You look at their process flow, how things are flowing in the restaurant. And you get some ideas of how you can improve and get better, or maybe just kind of duplicate what they're doing, if in fact it seems to be successful. Next, please. So when you're doing your market research, on the other side, the SBA also is, again, so many resources out there with the SBA. So you want to use those links to go in and do your research. Some of the key words while you're doing your research is market research, economic reports, statistics, trends, industry insights. Those keywords in whatever industry that you're in will bring up some information to help you research that market. And you can see, so I came up with an idea and I did my research, and it looks like this business or this industry is escalated. I'm excited. It's a great market, and I'm going to be involved. But then if I do my research and I say, oh my gosh, they were doing really well 5 years ago, but now no one's buying that product. And now the trend's going down. You want to know that. You want to say, oh, maybe I don't want to do that because it doesn't look like they're going to sustain. All that you'll find out during your research. Next, please. So this is going to be financials. So as you look at your financials, we're going to go to the next slide. We're going to look at your financials and make sure that you have the right information in your financial space on your business plan. Here, again, back to what I was saying earlier, traditional business plan, lean business plan, and business model canvas. I strongly urge you to go on the SBA's website and see there's samples of each one of these. Go on the SBA website and see what they have and use those templates. You can print a template right off. I think you can print it off the SBA website. If not, you can go to the internet. There's plenty of them there. And use the business model canvas to kind of jot down your thoughts and brainstorm before you start writing your plan. Model canvas to brainstorm on, then you start developing your plan. Next, please. SWOT analysis. Next, please. So when we talk about SWOT, we're talking about your strengths, your weaknesses, and opportunities and threats. Strengths and weaknesses are internal. So these are things internal to you that's in your control. You know what you're strong and what you're good at. You also know what you're weak at. And when you're weak at something, then you want to work on developing the strength. What you're strong at, you want to keep and maintain that strength in that area. Opportunities, sometimes you don't know when those opportunities are going to come, but you want to be prepared for those opportunities when they come. So those are external. And threats, you're not prepared for threats either. But you want to make sure that you have a contingency plan, anticipate what you think some of the threats could be, and try to prepare for them. The pandemic was a threat. Changing laws can be a threat to your business. So staying abreast of everything that's going on in your industry, reading, attending city council meetings, staying engaged with what's going on in the community. You'll hear about different opportunities, and you'll know about some of the changes that they're making that could be threats to you. If in fact you have not done a SWOT analysis for yourself as well as your business, I strongly encourage you to do that. You can go on the internet. There's a lot of examples about SWOT analysis, and I think it's very good for you to do that so you'll know where you need to apply some extra energy in developing your business plan and developing yourself as well. Next, please. So here are a few resource links. Now, I understand, I don't know yet, I haven't checked it, that Alexa might be going out of business or no longer a research tool. I'm not sure yet. I've heard that rumor. I have not double checked it. But you have links here, alexa.com, annual reports, citydata.com, census.gov, IBIS World, and SurveyMonkey. IBIS World and SurveyMonkey could be a cost associated with them for research, but the others are free. I usually use citydata.com. If I want to know about the demographics of a business or area, I'll put the zip code in and it'll tell me what the average income, the age, and other information about the demographics in that particular zip code. Ibis World, that is the cat's meow for research, but it costs. It's very costly. You might pay $500, $600, $700 for some research in Ibis World, and that's usually used at a lot of universities. I have a friend that went to Pepperdine here in Los Angeles area, and they used it quite a bit during her graduate program for research. Very in-depth, very thorough. I suggest just looking at Ibis World, just going on the internet and look at Ibis World, and you'll see all the information they can provide you for your particular business, but it's a cost associated with it. SurveyMonkey, there's also a cost, but I understand there's something in there free for you as well. Check it out. These links are available for you to research. Next, please. So, understanding the why: who, what, when, where, why, and how. We talked about that as a kid. Who, what, when, where, why, and how were all key words that we were introduced to at a very young age. Next slide, please. Why are you engaging? In business, engagement means you have a purpose and you're bringing value. That's why you're engaging. Next, please. Where? You want to explain your target areas. Where will you focus? Through your research, you'll find out, where should I put my attention? All that's going to require research. Next, please. How? How would you deliver your products or your services? Because all this is important for your credibility of your business. How are you going to deliver the product? How are you going to deliver the service? The service might be over internet. You might do face-to-face, but you want to understand what's the expectations. Next, please. Who? Who are you going to serve? The demographics. Back to that research. You want to find out, where are your clients? And using those research tools will help you with finding out where your clients are located. Then also, too, I haven't found one for psychographics. So even though once you find, let's say, the age group, but within that age group, what's the psychographics of those people to determine whether or not that's an audience for your product or your service? Next, please. What? What is your purpose? Your product or service has a purpose. Explain it simply and clearly. This is not where you sell, it's where you explain. So make sure you talk about the purpose of whatever you're offering. Next, please. When? When will you fulfill? Realistic promises must be made to better understand the expectations. So you want to be clear about the expectations as you're writing your plan, when you're going to fulfill your orders, or when you're going to do whatever you need to do. But when? What's the timeline? How are you going to do it? Next, please. So, a business plan. All these things are part of a business plan. Your ideas and teamwork and marketing, sales and profit and marketing goals, strategy, performance. It's a lot to a business plan. It's not a simple document to do. You can't do it overnight. It takes time to do a business plan. It can take months to do a business plan if you really do it right. It doesn't have to be 50 pages. It can be 10 pages. It can be 5 pages. It's not a matter of how many pages. It's the content that you have within the plan that anyone can pick up your plan, a lender or investor, and know exactly what you're doing, exactly how you're going to run your business, and they know that you've done the research because you have put that in your plan. So you let them know, I've done the research. I know what I'm talking about. This is the product I want to sell, and this is how I want to go about doing it. Next, please. So take action. Write your plan. You can go on the internet and you can find a lot of templates out there. And if you want one, if you want us to provide you one, you need to do a consultation, and we can give you a business plan template, a one that we've gotten off the internet that we think is nice, and it answers all the questions. And then you start writing your plan. Take your time. Don't do it fast. It's a cinch by the inch and it's hard by the yard. Any questions? Google the vision and the mission and the taglines. Yeah, please do that. And again, you'll see the examples are, like I said, 1 sentence, 2 sentences, not much. Venus, did you have a question? I saw your hand. No? Okay.
I remember when I was writing my business plan, I had like 4 people looking at it as I was writing it. And it's so hard it's an intimidating document to do because there's so many different parts of it. But once you put it all together, you just really don't realize how much you actually know about that specific thing that you're trying to do. And it's
Yeah.
so rewarding. It's
Yeah.
so rewarding. There's
Yeah.
things
Yeah.
that I can like just rattle off because of the research that I did, or that I just know that I don't even, it just pops up because I was able to write that business plan, do my research, know who my market is. I know exactly who I want to target, who I'm working with. And it just makes what you're trying to do so clear. I mean, it
Right.
just makes it so very clear. So I appreciate you taking the time to kind of break it down. I wish I would have had this class when I was writing mine, but um,
Sweet.
yeah. So, but I do want to tell, everyone who is watching and listening, um, we are here. BSBA is here to be a resource. If you're trying to write a business plan, schedule a consultation. We will help you. We will help you, and we've got a great team. And I think everybody knows what to do. I have a special affinity for Dr. Click. I call her Dr. Click, Dr. Pat. Um, because when I was working on trying to work on my business and trying to figure out where I was going with my other business, I scheduled a consultation with you, and I didn't quite get to all of my homework yet. And I know we're going to have that conversation pretty soon, but it was very helpful to kind of help me focus in on what I need to do. And even though I haven't done it, it's still in my mind, like, oh my God, I got to get this done. I got to do this. So please take advantage of the consultations and these workshops that we are doing. We're here to help you. We want to help you. We want to help you survive and thrive post-COVID. That's all I have to say, Dr. Click. Do you want to take us out? We're at 32 minutes. You did good, girl.
Well, I just want to say I'm excited about being here and talk about business plans, and we can do one-on-ones and we can kind of talk about it and we can break it down and we can brainstorm because you have a dream, you have a vision. Now let's get a document. Venus and I have been working together, and we're going to be working together soon on her business plan as well. Venus was making some decisions recently, and then she paused and stepped back and she says, wait a minute, let me think this through before I take that step, because you want to make sure that you think about everything before you do. You got to make some mistakes through this. And, we're all going to make mistakes through this. I made so many mistakes. It's just ridiculous how many mistakes I made. But again, I was just thinking I knew everything. I knew what I wanted to do. I was excited about it. And I thought that was enough, but it wasn't enough. No, it wasn't enough. Oh, Mark, thank you. So I encourage you to write your plan. If you have any questions about your plan, schedule a consultation. Let's work through it one by one, and let's get your plan written. Let's get your business going. And then we can rally you for your business. We can come and support your business because we want you to be successful.
I have one more question.
Yes, ma'am.
For the startups, because I mean, even with existing businesses, COVID kind of changed the world for everybody. And even if you had an existing business, you kind of had to rethink how you were offering your products and services because, as Dr. Pat said, things were shut down. We weren't able to get products like we had gotten them before. A lot of people had to move to an internet-based business and offer their products online as opposed to having a brick and mortar because people couldn't go out, and then they had this whole mask thing. It was a mess. What would your advice be to someone starting a business in today's time? We're not ever going to go, I don't think we'll ever be like we were pre-COVID. I mean, there's some similarities, but things are just different. So what is your advice to a startup that's not quite sure? They know what they want to do. They have a great idea, but just not quite sure how to implement it or put it down on paper.
So that's, again, step by step in the business plan. It asks you those questions. What's your business model? Then you document. What's your concept behind it? Then you document who's your competition, all the things, the marketing, who's going to operate. Just write all those things down. But to your point, about not being able to pivot, not anticipating certain things would happen, you don't know what's going to happen. You have no idea. And that's where the SWOT comes in. There's a threat. If I'm opening up an ice cream parlor, well, I don't know, that's not even a good example. But if I'm opening up a type of business, but the law says something's going to change that's directly impacting that business, I need to consider that before I do it. I don't need to be hard headed and say, well, this is what I want to open up. I don't care what the law says. I know I'm going to pull the people. No, no, no. You got to stop and reassess. So maybe I want to open up this type of business, but now I have to change it just a little bit so I can make sure I can still attract other people to come and support my business. But contingency plans, and as you were talking, Selena, contingency plans just keep popping up in my mind. You need a contingency plan. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm going out here on a leap of faith, but I want to have a plan that what if something should happen? Because I've identified that in my threats on my SWOT. What if those things should happen? How do I still perform? And how
Can
do I
you
still
speak specifically in your business plan to like COVID? Like if we were ever to have, this whole world shut down again, and like, would it be appropriate to speak to that in your business plan?
Yes.
Or is that too detailed?
Yes. And that can go in your SWOT analysis. You can add that in your SWOT analysis. The threat, that pandemic is a threat. We live in earthquake country. Earthquakes a threat. Fires are a threat. You can list those things as threats, and you can itemize each of those threats. In the event this should happen, this is my plan of how I plan to still operate. Maybe I'm in a brick and mortar now. Maybe I'll operate from home. Maybe I'll move my business to the internet. So you want people to know that you have been thinking, and you're not going to hit everything. It could be a car accident that goes through your building. You're not going to anticipate that. But the major things, yes, you can kind of anticipate and come up with an action plan and let the lender, vendor, lender or investor, whoever's reading your plan, know that you've thought about that and the possibility does exist and you have a backup plan for it.
I love it.
I have a question. I have two. So I was working on a business plan. I found like a template randomly off of Google as well. And they had like exit strategy on there. Is that something that is necessary for all business plans?
So there is a conversation out there about including your exit strategy. I don't talk about exit strategy in a business plan, but it definitely can be in a business plan. How do you get out of it once you're in it? So exit strategy is a part of some of the templates out there in business plans, but I've never addressed that in my presentations. But that definitely is something you need to consider. Yeah.
Okay.
Once you get in, how you going to get out?
Right.
Yeah.
And then my second question is, do artists need business plans?
Anybody. Yeah, everyone needs a business plan. How you plan to operate. If I'm an artist and I'm going to sell my artwork, how do I plan to, if that's what you're talking about, or if I'm a singer, what type of artist?
I'm a dancer. I'm a dancer.
So, a dancer? Yeah. Are you planning on making money?
Yes. And I just got into an agency, so I use my real name, but I have an artist name. Therefore, I wanted to create that to be like what they push and like have that legally structured and keep my educational business or personal name over here away from that. Yeah. So I was thinking like, okay, well, maybe I should probably turn that into an LLC because it gives like the limited liability for me personally, but I wasn't sure. That's why I kind of set up I did set up a consultation just to get started on this process because it's kind of happening fast. And when I start getting paid, I need to have everything structured correctly. So that way.
Yeah. Are we scheduled sometime soon? Are we scheduled tomorrow? Is that you tomorrow?
Yes, at 10 a.m. 10 a.m.
Yes.
She's excited. Yes, I'm at 10.
That's me.
So yeah, we'll talk about that and we'll go in detail. But yes, anytime you're running any type of business, you need a business plan.
Thank you.
Any type of business, because even as you engage with people, and yours will be a little bit different. As I engage with people who are going to be hiring me, and I don't know what you would call them, or production staffs or whatever what they call. How are you going to engage with them? What are your price structures for them? How often are you willing to work? What days you're willing to work, how far you're going to travel, all those things. You want to think about that instead of saying, hey, I got a job for you, Jada, and it's over in Germany and you need to be there tomorrow. Oh, no. I always need 48-hour notice, whatever the case may be. You want to plan it. You want to plan everything you can. Yes.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry. So thank you guys. I really, really, really enjoyed talking to you this evening, and get started on that business plan and schedule consultations so we can walk through it.